Welcome to Podcasting for Solopreneurs and FAQ Friday, where I answer a podcasting question in 5 minutes or less. Today's question is, can a podcast idea be too niche? Niche, whatever your preference is. This question comes from an anonymous listener. Thanks so much for listening and submitting this question. My short answer is yes, it can be, but it's actually pretty rare for that to be the case. Most of the time when someone asks this question, the real issue isn't that their idea is too niche, it's that they're worried the audience might be too small. But in my experience, a small and highly aligned audience is way more valuable than a large but unaligned one. The more clearly that you speak to a particular type of listener, the more likely they are to feel like your podcast was made just for them. There's a well-known marketing saying that goes, "When you talk to everyone, you actually talk to no one." And that applies here. If your podcast is very broad, like a podcast about business, doesn't specify online business or brick and mortar, doesn't specify large business, small business, any of that stuff. Or if it's simply, a podcast about health, doesn't say anything about age group, gender, type of health, mental health, physical health, any of that stuff. These types of podcasts become much harder for someone to instantly recognize that this show is meant for them. But if your podcast topic is something like marketing tips for Etsy sellers or fitness for women over 50, then the right listener immediately recognizes that the show was made for people like them. When someone feels like you understand their specific situation, their challenges, their goals, then they are much more likely to stick around and become a loyal listener. That said, there are some rare cases where a topic can be too niche. So if your topic is so narrow that you can only come up with 5 or 6 episode ideas, or there are truly only a handful of people in the world who would care about that topic, then it might make sense to broaden it a little bit. But for most podcasters, the challenge is actually the opposite. Their topic is too broad, not too specific. So if you are sitting there wondering whether your podcast idea is too niche, the answer is probably not. Being clear and specific about who your podcast is for is one of the best ways to attract the right listeners. If you have a podcasting question, click the Send Me Your Question link in the episode description, and I'll answer it in an upcoming episode. Until next time, happy podcasting!